How you doing? I'm Kenny Guiton, the wide receivers coach here at the University of Wisconsin.
Questions?
Kenny, we know obviously you have a connection with Coach Fickle from your playing days, but what was that conversation like when you guys started talking about this position for you, and what landed you here ultimately?
Oh man, that conversation was awesome. I was at a good place, and when you see his name come across your phone, it's a different feeling, especially with a man that's known me since I was 17 years old and saw me growing to a man. And so getting a chance to see that call coming in, it was obvious that I was going to answer and see what's up. So, it was awesome.
What did you learn from him that kind of influenced you as your own coaching?
Yes, I just always thought him, Coach Jim Tressel back then, they were just great men of character, God-fearing, tough guys that just did everything the right way. And it helped shape me, who I was coming from Houston, Texas, into the man. I knew it would help me be the man that I wanted to be in the future.
What have you noticed? I mean, obviously you've only been here a month or so, but What have you noticed about differences in how Coach Fickle coaches now versus when you were a player?
Just seeing him as a head coach. When I was a player, he's a defensive coordinator. So seeing him having the reins of the entire team is pretty cool to see. And you always knew that he would have success with just some of the things that you knew about him in the past of being a great man, a man that cares about people, cares about his players, and always going to do things the right way.
You mentioned Houston, Texas, transitioning first off into the weather, what was that like? But also when you walked in here day one, what were the first things that stood out to you?
Yeah, so like my first week was a snowstorm, so that was pretty cool to come into. But honestly, it got me back kind of acclimated to being up here. I spent 5 years in Ohio, so the weather isn't a bad thing to me. It'll be more getting my family acclimated to it because they hadn't been a part of it at all. So that'll be a lot of fun. They're looking forward to it, honestly, and we'll do some fun things with it.
What's caught your attention about the guys you have in your room?
Say it one more time.
What's caught your attention about the guys you have in your room?
The versatility, man. The room right now, I think you got a lot of versatility with a lot of guys that can do different things and step in and pick up some slack. We got some guys that got some really, really good production in the past, and then we got some guys that I think are ready for their moment. They got to, develop a little more and step up and be ready when that time comes next fall. And the good thing is we do have time. And so we're going to work our butts off, and when the time comes, we'll be ready to roll.
Some of the group has seen multiple receiver coaches during their time here. Kind of what's your message in the way that you want to instill a culture here?
Yes. I think that aligns with Coach Fickle. So that's a big reason on me coming. And I'm really big on the tough and discipline and being nasty. And I've played against this school a few times, and that's what you think of them when you come in to play them. It's like you're getting into a dogfight, and so that's who I want to be, and that's how the leadership will be in that room, coming from the top down for me.
I was going to ask you, you've been in this stadium before, certainly you've got some memories. What stands out?
Oh, some great experiences in this stadium. Been twice. I came in as the number 1 team, left with a loss, and the next time we came, we won in overtime. But I'm on the other side now, so I'm excited to see it from this side now.
When it comes to, on the recruiting trail, just, what is your approach to recruiting, when building relationships with recruits?
Definitely. It's exactly what you said. Recruiting is about relationships. Everybody say it, but it's about not just that individual, the people that's around them, the people that's touching them, and a lot of the times it's coach's mom, but also finding that other person that may be in their lives that they really lean on, that they look for advice from maybe, but and I call it champion. Who's that champion in your life that's probably a little different from mom and coach, or dad, obviously I don't want to leave dad out, and it's just getting to know their surroundings, and once you can kind of get into their circle is when hey, I got me one,
You mentioned you've seen this program on the other side for quite a bit, and you see the transition that it's gone through just over the last year, and kind of, I guess, a new identity. How did you feel like you fit with that new identity and want to add on to it?
Great question. I feel like I fit into that identity just with the energy that I bring. I'm a young guy that just love to bounce around and have fun. I'm going to have fun with my guys, and they also going to know that the fun is in winning. So in order to win, you got to put the work in and be developed and have the discipline to do it over and over and over again. And I think that's the hardest part in sports, period. We all know what it takes. It's hard to actually do it on a consistent basis. And, you can ask the best athletes in the world, what does it take to get there? And every bit of their answer, you're gonna know. You know, it's actually living it every day, and that's the part that I feel like I fit in with, and I can bring the energy to the guys to where, hey, it may be that day where you don't feel like you know, going 1,000 miles per hour, but I'm gonna bring that energy no matter what, and you're gonna have to step up to it.
Kenny AJ Blazek was just here, and speaking of energy, he seems to have a lot of it. I know you're just getting to know him, but is that one of the things that stands out about him?
Definitely. AJ brings a lot of energy, and just into the meeting room alone, and you know, to me, energy just bleeds off into anyone, and that energy can be negative or positive. And so he's one of those guys for me, you know, I like to say I'm not tired ever, but if I'm in a meeting room and I'm tired and AJ comes walking in, bouncing around, and he makes a joke or two, then it's kind of like, all right, that energy just bled off on me, and now I'm ready to roll. I'm good.
Coming from that Arkansas offense, what have you noticed about Phil Longo's offense and the way he uses his receivers?
Yes, some similarities in my first stint, you know, of being at Arkansas, probably a lot different from what we did this past year. I love it. I can't wait to be a part of it and get into the details of coaching it.
That's one of the things that we've heard and we've seen is like coaching receivers in this offense, because there's a lot of freedom, can be a little bit difficult. How do you maybe try to train that in the offseason so that when you get to the season, that's not as big of a challenge?
Well, it's I've done it. I've been a part of it, you know, and 2 places I've been, and it's a fun deal. You know, you have to look at it as if you have the right of way to always be right, you know, as a wideout. And so what more would you want? You know what I'm saying? It's like, hey, I can be right no matter what. As long as I'm open, I'm probably right. And so it's not a hard deal. It's something that I actually love. And yeah, if I ever had my shot, I'd probably do the same types of things.
Looking at the offense from last year, what were some of the things that you think could improve? Obviously, you got guys like Will Paul returning.
Yeah.
But what are some of the things
Yeah.
that you're looking to improve in your year this year?
Honestly, the production outside, you know, I think we got some good production, but I think we got some guys in the room that's ready for their moment, ready to step up into it. And like I said earlier, man, I mean, it all takes work. It all takes work. You have to work for it. And I mean, I live by a slogan that's old school, man. Hard work pays off, you know, and I just think we got time right now to put that work in. And so now if we're doing that, man, when the time comes, man, we'll be ready to roll.
You said you've got guys that you think are ready for their moment. They haven't had a chance to be around all the time.
Yeah.
But who are some of those guys, at least on the outside, that
Yeah.
when you're talking about
Yeah.
that, who's in your head?
It's a few young guys. You know, I don't want to point out 1 or 2 right now. You know, being that new guy, then I go in the room tomorrow and everybody looking at me crazy. So it's a few of them, man. That few young guys that's played sparingly, and maybe caught a few balls. But you know, now it's time to be counted on a little bit more. You know, and obviously through spring ball, you go earn that. You know, obviously it's not going to be handed. Everyone as an athlete knows that, and so we're going to put competition throughout the entire room, and you know, the cream rise to the top.
Do you have a philosophy on how many receivers you like to use in an offense like this?
That's a great question. I usually do, but I'm a guy that, man, I want to know how many that can produce. If I have a room full of guys that can produce, then we'll play more. If, you know, the top 5 are the guys we're going to roll with that. You know, I like I said, I think it's all earned. It's all earned, and you earn it through everyday, consistent process.
What are you looking for in your outside receivers? Is there like a specific build, some kind of like demeanor? Or
Yeah.
What are you looking for both in the group now and also on the recruiting trail?
That's a good question, man. Honestly, I'm a guy that likes versatility, and that's one of the biggest things that I do love about the room now. So, like, when you say what do I look for on the outside, you know, I can't say, hey, I look for a 6'4" DK Metcalf. I can't say that. You know, I'm gonna look for
We'll take that straight.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. I honestly, I look for a baller, man. Like, can you ball? Do you love football? Tough kid who, when he gets to a football field, that's his safe haven. No matter what's going on in the world, hey, I can't worry about it right now for these next 2-3 hours. And when I'm done with this ball, I'll get back to that. But for now, I'm worried about this ball. And so I like versatility, man. I don't like for a room to all look the same, you know, and things of that nature. So that's one of my really, really good things I think we have in the room right now.
So talk about the transfer portal, which you had success with that, especially at Arkansas. Just how different is that an approach from high school recruiting and just what you've had to do, especially like
Yeah.
at Arkansas?
Yeah, it's a lot different, and I think it's your, how do you say it? It's kind of your philosophy as a program on what you want to do with those things, and I like what they've done here in recruiting the high school guys, and because, you know, if you're gonna sell yourself on development, those are the guys that you're going to get to develop, you know, and those transfer guys, yeah, you can develop them, don't get me wrong, but a lot of the times they're towards, you know, a lot of them are towards the ceiling, kind of, I guess you can say, because they've already been in college and they know who they are and things of that nature. But it is a good thing. I mean, some kids, it's a good thing. Some, you know, I don't want to start a controversy or anything, but I just think it's all in philosophy on how you want to run a program. And I love that, you know, we kind of think about doing it the high school way, man, because you really have a chance to develop those kids. Like I say, man, Coach Figgles known me since I was 17 years old, you know, and now I'm 32 coaching with him. So that's 15 years of development, man, of playing and then now trying to get right in the coaching world.
Kenny, we saw in the last few years Chimere DK take a big leadership role with this wide receiver group. Obviously, he's moved on. I know it's been a short time, but who have you seen maybe step up and kind of be the leader in your room so far?
Yeah. It's been a few of them. Obviously, Will Pauling. You know, when you got the production, it's easy to speak up. You know, guys will listen. I think Bryson Green will step up and be that guy as well, because he's a guy that's been out there and got a chance to do it. Probably a name that's slept on a little bit is Hawk Anderson. I mean, he's a guy that does everything right, goes 1,000 miles per hour. And I told him, man, you need to speak up. It ain't about if you're out there on a Saturday right now. It's really not. It's about somebody that does it right 24/7. And the minute you speak up, guys will listen. Probably proud of CJ as well. CJ has stepped up and he's more of an actions kind of guy. But I'm proud of him as well. And it's a few of them that I'm challenging right now to step up, because I think we need it in our room. And it'll help us in a team aspect.
Historically, receiver hasn't been the easiest position to recruit here, just from the state and everything like that. But how do you approach recruiting receivers to a place that hasn't had that long track record of receiver success?
Should do it like I did it anywhere else. Go get out there, go identify the guys, identify the ones you want, and get into their circle. Get into their circle. If I can get into that circle, they'll meet the real Kenny Guiton. They'll meet my family, my kids, and they'll understand that, hey, I can go succeed at this place, no matter the history. You know what I mean? And honestly, the history is there too. I mean, you got guys that I know when I played against, I never forget hearing that crowd tune the whole game, you know, and I'm like, man, who is this Jared guy? I'm like, I don't know him, but he's killing. And so, I mean, there's some guys there, and you can get them. You just gotta get into those kids' circles, man, and really make them believe in the development that's going to happen with those guys in the next 3 to 5 years.